Hi, everyone. Aaron here for Zollotech, and there's a lot to talk about this week with Apple news. We'll talk about when to expect iOS 18.2, and also we have some news about iPhone 17. It may or may not be how some people are reporting it. This is your weekly Apple news update for the week of December 2nd, 2024. Now, the first thing is, if you've been using Apple Pay, many of us have around the world, it looks like it's coming to Uruguay very soon. This is thanks to a post by Aaron P613 on X, and it looks like it's in the code and ready to launch any day. So it looks like it's available, and hopefully we'll have that very soon. Now, one of the features originally intended for iOS 18 that was shown off at WWDC in June of 2024 was a feature that allows HomeKit to use smart robot vacuums. Now, that's something that was a little bit odd to have integrated within the OS, but it looks like that support has now been pushed to 2025. This is based off a website that Apple sort of quietly updated in the background. So if we go into Safari, you'll see at the bottom under point number 6 here, it says features will be available in early 2025. Controlling robot vacuums with Siri will be available in English, US only. So it looks like that's probably going to launch maybe in January or February, maybe with iOS 18.3. We'll have to wait and see if they include it in that, but I'll link this in the description. You can see all of the different things for the Home app. Apple's UK headquarters has a new Wallace and Gromit 6-minute video that's being projected onto its facade. This starts every day from 5 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. and will end on New Year's Eve, and it's sort of part of Apple promoting Shot on iPhone. They're using stop motion using the iPhone 16 Pro, and there's a couple of videos explaining how it's done as well. So lots of different things such as put your ideas into motion, showing how you can learn more and see how the whole thing was done. So I'll give you a link to this in the description, and let me know if you've actually seen this in person and what you think of it. If it's good enough to be on the side of a giant building, the footage may be pretty great coming out of the iPhone 16 Pro at this point. Now, if you have an Apple Watch and a Tesla, there's a new app launching next week from Tesla to control and see the status of your vehicle. This is part of Tesla's holiday update for 2024, and you can see it here with a Model S. So you can open the frunk, you can see your range, you can control the climate, and much more. So that should be available sometime next week. Now, if you use WhatsApp and you have an older phone, maybe an iPhone 5S, 6 or 6 Plus, unfortunately next year on May 2025, you won't be able to actually use it anymore with WhatsApp. So if you use WhatsApp regularly on an older iPhone, it will no longer be supported after that point. So you'll definitely need to upgrade past the iPhone 6 Plus in order to use it. Now, iPhone shipments have actually been slower than many expected this year, according to new information from the IDC. They only grew by about 0.4%, and Apple expected a huge growth from Apple Intelligence. But I think most people just find it nice to have, but not something that they need to run out and buy a new iPhone for. So the overall smartphone market didn't grow a ton, but Apple only grew 0.4% according to their information. So it looks like it's not as great as many people had thought. I think many people just are waiting for some sort of redesign, or so it looks sort of something different or has some new features we weren't expecting, other than maybe just this year's camera control button, something along those lines. It seems Apple has already ordered its next set of Apple silicon chips from TSMC for late 2025. This could be next year's M5 chipsets, it could be the A19 processors, or just future processors in general. They like to get ahead of it and have it ready by the end of the year. So it looks like that's already in the works according to the elec. So something that I'm sure we'll see sometime late next year. Now, we haven't heard much about the once promised next-gen Apple CarPlay. Originally, it seemed Porsche was going to integrate it, but it hasn't yet. We thought maybe the Porsche Macan Electric would have it, and it doesn't have it. So, however, the EU intellectual property database seems that there's still a possibility of a next-gen CarPlay thanks to a new recent filing that shows Audi integration. So that's something we could have since we have the Porsche Macan Electric. We could see that in the new Q5 or Q7s, things like that with the electric range from Audi. Now, the Vision Pro seems to be a device that some people love, some people think is neat, or other people just think is too expensive. However, if you've used it, it's pretty great to use for certain things. I use it to take notes with the Mac, but I don't think it's a reason to run out and buy one of these. However, there's reports now saying that Apple's working on upgrading an entire sports stadium for live immersive video. I think that would be a reason to run out and get one of these. That's one of the best parts of Apple Vision Pro, is actually using it for immersive video. They've only had about 6 to 10 minute films so far on it, and it's something that I look forward to, but they release them every couple of months at this point, and I would definitely love to see more of that released. It's a really nice way to watch sort of sports We've seen some of that with NFL, and I would love to see more of that with F1. Maybe baseball, maybe football, all of the different sports. It would be great to see those live using Vision Pro if you're sitting home by yourself. So let me know if you would pick one of these up, maybe if it was less expensive or if there were live sports on it. Now today is Cyber Monday. We have a lot of deals since Black Friday, now through the weekend, Cyber Monday, maybe Cyber Week. And I actually got a notification from Apple that it's the last chance to get an Apple gift card up to $200 with eligible purchase. It ends tonight, so if you've been wanting to pick something up, be sure to check out the Apple Store app, Apple Store, the physical version, or apple.com, and you can get that depending on what you purchase. Now, as far as deals this week, there are a ton of deals. Some of the best ones have to do with AirPods. For example, AirPods Pro 2, these are the AirPods 4 with active noise cancellation, but AirPods Pro 2 are down to $154 sold by Apple on Amazon. AirPods Max are $100 off. There's a 4-pack of AirTags for $69.99 and deals on iPads, Macs, and more. So I'll link all of those in the description below so you can check them out yourself. Now, of course, we're all waiting for iOS 18.2 RC. Now, today, it seems unlikely that it would release. Typically, at least according to last year, we had iOS 17.2 RC release on a Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So I would expect that as soon as tomorrow. That will bring all of the finalized versions of 4 different features to iOS 18. We'll have all of the Apple Intelligence, things such as visual intelligence. It took a little while to open, but visual intelligence. We'll have things such as Genmoji. We'll have Image Playground and some other new features as well, even if you don't have a phone that supports Apple Intelligence. So that should be rolling out hopefully as soon as tomorrow, as late as Wednesday, I would think. However, I expect the public release of iOS 18.2 to be on December 9th. MacRumors said this originally. That seems very likely. We'll probably see it on the 9th and then probably move on to iOS 18.3 betas. We could have 1 or 2 betas before the sort of holiday break with Christmas and more through the New Year's, and then probably the 1st or 2nd week of January, we'll get the next beta. So we should have a bit of a break here at the end of December like we do every year, but we could see iOS 18.3 as well. Now, when it comes to the iPhone 17, there's some news about this that's a little bit conflicting. Last week, Wayne Ma from The Information said that the iPhone 17 Pro would be aluminum this year instead of titanium or stainless steel. However, today we're hearing from a Weibo leaker on Instant Digital that Apple will still use titanium in the Pro lineup. Now, it's hard to say if this is just speculation from the leaker on Weibo, as many people have said they wouldn't pay $1,000 for an aluminum phone. However, it's possible they have inside knowledge on the production line as Apple sort of ramps that up toward the end of the year and early next year to get it ready for late 2025. So they'll get those designs finalized, and we definitely could still have titanium, but it wouldn't surprise me if they switch completely to something such as aluminum. We've seen that with the iPhone 4 and 4S. That had a stainless steel frame, then they switched to aluminum with the iPhone 5, and everybody loved it. The iPhone 5S all the way up until the iPhone 8 carried on with that, and then we got stainless steel and then switched to titanium with the iPhone 15 models. So they could switch the materials around. It could be strong enough, and I personally wouldn't mind as long as it's sort of a new design and feels premium. Let me know what you think of that in the comments below. Now, of course, iPhone 17 Pro is expected to have a few different things. A whole new redesigned camera bump on the back, which is said to incorporate aluminum on the back with the camera bump, then maybe glass on the bottom, and then the frame, again, could either be aluminum or titanium. We don't know this 100%. However, it does seem we're going to get a 24 megapixel front-facing camera, up to 12 gigs of RAM, Wi-Fi 7 with Apple's own chipset, an A19 Pro chipset, and possibly a smaller dynamic island. I would expect other enhancements as well, maybe a better battery, and of course we're also thinking we're going to get a slimmer version. And there's news about this as well, where Apple is apparently planning to get rid of the physical SIM card. I really appreciate the physical SIM card on these devices where you can just pop that out and switch devices if you want to, but according to the information, Apple will remove the SIM tray in more countries, but what one specifically we don't know at this point. I personally would like to see them add it back in the United States. But this could go along with the iPhone 17 Air, where the removal of a SIM card tray could allow for super thinness of the phone. In fact, the information is reporting it could be as thin as 5 millimeters, so we could see a super thin iPhone, and they would have to remove some things to make room for that. So we'll have to wait and see what they do with that, but with the iPhone SE, we're expected to have a new redesign as well. This is the current generation SE, and we have a singular camera. This is expected to sort of have a more squared off design this time around and have Apple's own 5G chipset. So we'll have to wait and see if they do that early 2025, but we can expect that sort of change with the latest processor, and it should be able to run Apple Intelligence. We're also expecting some changes in the future. A new patent found shows that Apple could actually be planning to add more buttons to their devices. Now, this is something Steve Jobs was famous for, was removing buttons, but it looks like Apple is now adding more buttons. We could see additional buttons on the iPhone, additional action buttons. We could even see them on the iPad and Mac as well, according to the patent. So an action button that's programmable. I personally don't like all of these buttons all around. I don't typically use them very much. I use the camera control to just quickly open the camera. I don't use it for anything else. But if you really like the buttons, it looks like Apple may be bringing those to all their devices. And so that's all of the news this week. We're still waiting to hear if we're going to get a redesigned Apple TV, and I think news will slow down a little bit toward the end of the year and then pick back up in early January. But let me know if you're looking forward to an iPhone 17 Slim model, if you'd buy an aluminum version of the 17 Pro, or if you have to have stainless steel or titanium. Let me know in the comments below. I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.